Jesus says, always discern with me. Don't settle with opinions. April 7th, 2016. Words from Jesus through Sister Claire, spoken by Jackie. Claire began, "What is on your heart tonight, Lord?" Your sanctification? Oh yes, you've caught me thinking about that. I shouldn't be, right? No, you shouldn't take your eyes off me, truth be told. But when you do, it should be to edify your brother or correct yourself, but not laboring or thinking about how to be holy, or how I'm going to make you more holy. That is a total waste of time. You're really not making good use of the time when you become self-centered. By that I mean, when you try to engineer your own sanctification, when you look at others and wish you could be that far along. That doesn't please me. I have you in this place because it is the best place for you to be. You would not do well in someone else's path. And may I say that things are not always as they seem? Where you see another soul progressing seemingly beyond you, you look at what is further along than you are, but you do not look or see the other faults that are hidden. And even if these faults didn't exist, I still do not want you comparing yourself with others. But Lord, what about when you said, when you see good, imitate it? That's in passing, and with my Spirit's anointing, deliberately tapping on your shoulder and saying, "Beloved, here's a virtue you would do well to imitate." Yes, then you are to incorporate that, but never sizing yourself up against what you see in others. That is very much to your detriment. I may still be moving layer A in that soul, while you and I passed through those lessons a long time ago. Oh, how much I appreciate it when you all humble yourselves and work together, sharing your faults and praying for one another. That is what I designed the original communities to be. Safe havens, places of refuge from the scrutiny and judgments of the world, places where you could grow in holiness, openly with one another. When a brother wounds his leg in battle and you wound your right hand, you can help him walk with your members that still function, and he can help you right with his members that still function. I designed the body to work this way, intricately united together, so that the wounded and compromised would have assistance until they healed. However, what most often happens is one suffers a leg wound and is chastised for it to the point that his good hands are no longer useful to the community. He's been written off as too weak, inadequate, and immature. Oh, don't you see, my people? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because a soul is faulty and weak in one area does not mean he's no longer useful to the body in others. This is the attitude that many of you apply to my ministers. If you find one thing wrong with them, you write them off. How sad. How would you feel if I found one thing wrong with you and wrote you off as a total failure and unworthy for me to work with? Yet this is what you do to my ministers, who, I must tell you, out of the thousands, none of them has arrived. You will always find fault somewhere. Now, the secret of receiving ministry from anyone is discernment. And how do you learn discernment? By many hours sitting at my feet and listening to souls with your heart. That is where the real acid test is. When you hear the heart of others, you will know truth from error. You even suppose that because one moves in a gift, everything they say must be truth. No, no, no. You must go deeper. They may have a gift, but they might not have the truth. Again, you must listen with your heart. Filter it through me. I will let you know when you are listening to truth or error. But this skill is not gained by squeezing me into 30 minutes in the morning, nor is it gained in corporate body worship, running to Bible studies and conferences. It is only learned in the silence of your heart, where I speak to you. When you sit in silence, I speak to your heart, and soon we are dialoguing back and forth, having a real conversation. This is how you learn discernment, listening to me. I am telling you this because many of you are fooled by false piety. You judge as man judges, not as I perceive from the heart. I have an aversion to falsehood, but you have to be listening very carefully to my heart as you listen to the vessel. You will feel a subtle joy and conviction when I approve, and an awkward sense that something is not quite right when I disapprove. If you gain your discernment in crowds, talking with others, listening to different opinions and different teachers, what you will end up with is not discernment but opinion. And when your opinion doesn't agree with what the vessel is saying, it'll set you on edge. But that doesn't mean that I'm not agreeing with what they're saying. You have to go deeper. Opinion happens when you compare notes and decide on what seems right to your logical mind. Opinion is no substitute for discernment. Discernment happens when you are tuned into my heart. My sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow. Just about all the Pharisees had strong opinions about my ministry. They had consensus, but they did not have discernment, or they wouldn't have crucified me. So, my dear ones, I want you to be fully equipped for every good work, and discernment is second only to love in ministry. Love without discernment will result in misplaced action. Discernment without love will result in harsh judgment. You must have both, and you will have both when you spend quality time leaning your head upon my heart and listening to me and worshiping me, either in the silence of your heart or alone in your room. Until you know that you have this gift, be very careful in your judgment of the teachings of others. If you do not know, then it is wise to come to me saying, Lord, I don't know, please show me. Never form a rash judgment about the content of a vessel's ministry. Always come to me, wait on me, and I will reveal truth from error. Then you will be able to drink from the living waters, rather than the polluted waters of men's opinions.